Thousands of Ghanaians have been queuing at the head office of the NIA in bid to acquire their Ghana card. On Tuesday morning, March 22, there was reports of a stampede at the entrance of the National Identification NIA head office. Member of Parliament's Communications Committee Samuel Nate George had blamed the Communications Ministry and the NIA for the stampede. This was, however, refuted by the Corporate Affairs Officer at the NIA head office, Henry Abuaji.
When the gate was open around 7:30, there was a bit of a rush. A few people fell down, but they were able to stop the rush, and then those people were picked up, and that was it. Nobody, to the best of my knowledge, have been sent to the hospital.
He called on applicants to exercise patience with registration officers, as NIA has not issued any deadline for the registration.
The applicants to be patient when they come here. The numbers are huge. We have expanded to accommodate all, so they should cooperate with us. We will serve them.
But some applicants confirmed there was a stampede in the morning.
Yes, it was a stampede here. 3 people were stamped at the gate, at the main gate. I saw it myself. People were videoing, so there's a video that's going around, so it's true.
After 5 p.m., the numbers at the NIA head office was still overwhelming, according to some of the registration officers. Many of the applicants have their cards, but with errors in the names, hence have to apply for replacement. They pleaded with the authority to open more branches to reduce the numbers at the head office. Joseph Armstrong, Good Alibu TV3, Accra.
Well, let's say a bit further on this stampede that has been confirmed indeed by the communications officer there. Sam Nate George is a member of parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency. He's a ranking member on the communications committee of parliament. He joins me on the telephone for a bit more on this. Mr. George, good evening to you. So how much of a difference will this extension that has been communicated now make as we are approaching the deadline for the re-registration SIM line?
Well, a very good evening to your viewers. The point must be made that this extension will buy some time, but will not fix the problem. Given the magnitude of the problem, the extension is not sufficient enough. The solution to this problem is what we are going to move on to now. We've managed to secure this interim extension. What we're going to do now is to challenge the legality of the procedure. That's our next line of action. We're challenging the legality of the SIM re-registration process that's ongoing. We're not saying that SIM re-registration is illegal. We are saying the procedure and methodology the minister has laid out through the NCA is illegal. Reason being that when you take the legislation in the country today, we have LI 2006, which is the law that regulates. LI 2006 is the law that regulates the registration of SIM cards in Ghana. When you read section 10 of LI 2006, and let me just read that for you. That's the interpretation section of LI 2006. It says in this regulation, unless the context otherwise requires, identification document for a citizen includes I, a valid driver's license, II, a valid national health insurance identification card, III, a valid passport, IV, a valid voter's ID card, V, a valid national identity card, or VI, any other valid form of identification document the authority may determine by publication in the Gazette and a daily newspaper of national circulation. So this is the law in Ghana today that regulates the registration of SIM cards. So can anybody explain to me why the Minister for Communication, in carrying out a legitimate re-registration process, would decide to limit what the law has specified to only one card and deprive Ghanaians who have voters' ID cards, who have valid driver's licenses, who have valid passports from being able to use those documents to register when the law that governs what she's saying says that those cards should be used. That is an abuse of Article 296 of the Constitution, which says that anyone who wields discretionary power must not wield it in a way that is whimsical, capricious, or malicious. And we believe that the minister's directives fly in the face of LI 2006 and cannot be said to be legal. And so, like I said, if you still have the problem of only the Ghana card being used as a document for registration, you continue to have this problem even if you extend it for 2 years.
Right.
The only way you can fix it is when you open up the registration documents in conformity with what the law says. That is all of these documents be used.
So thereby adding other forms of identification and not just the Ghana card as we have it now. Right, but with my engagements with you over time, you've been very consistent about this particular position, and you've asked the communications minister this particular question, if I recall, in Parliament. Has there been any change in position or a response to this question as to why the source document for the registration is limited to only the Ghana card?
The minister keeps referencing, even on the floor of Parliament, LI 2111. Now, I don't understand. I just can't understand how the minister is using LI 2111 as the basis for a SIM card registration. LI 2006, the title of that legislative instrument is Subscriber Identification Model Registration Legislation. That's SIM card registration legislation.
Right.
She says she won't use that one. She wants to use LI 21111. LI 2111 is the National Identification Authority regulation. So how a minister of communication is saying that she's only going to use a law that has been passed for the National Identification Authority to do SIM card registration when there is an existing SIM card registration law, beats my mind.
So what's Parliament going to do about this? What's Parliament going to do about this? The Communications Committee.
Parliament cannot issue directives to a minister. Parliament can only draw the minister's attention to her errors, which is what we have done by way of the question I filed that she came to answer, and it was clear to everybody that day. In fact, she ended up by saying that is the basis of the legal advice she has gotten. In another breath of her answer, she said she was still awaiting legal advice. And so I questioned her on the legal advice, which one is she using? But you see, that's why right now we may end up having to go to the judiciary and hope that the judiciary will do the upright thing of interpreting the law without fear or favor. Because this is clear. I mean, what the minister is doing is prescribing medication for a sore foot, for a headache. Because Parliament has passed specific legislation for SIM card registration, specific legislation for Ghana card. And then you are doing a SIM card registration and say, I don't like the SIM card registration law. I won't use it. I'm going to use the National Identification Authority card law. I mean, and even with the National Identification Authority law, Section 7 does not say that the Ghana card shall be the only card. It only says must be used. Mandatory use is not the same as solitary use. Again, the only person in Ghana today who has the power to actually effect change to the SIM card registration law, LI 2006, is the Minister for Communication. She failed to do that.